Hello, everybody. This is Tiffany, hosting once again. Didn't think I'd be back, but here we are. Welcome into the There Can Be Only One podcast, and we are going to be recapping week 8, talk waivers. We also had a trade this morning, and then we'll preview week 9 matchups. So this week was interesting for fantasy. Not great for me personally. Actually, it was a horrible week for me. But some of you all had some pretty solid weeks. So let's just jump right into our week 8 recap. Then we'll move on to the waivers, talk about the trade, and then we'll look at week 9 projections. And I have my projections, and I also have Tyler's projections as well. So a little bit out of order than the usual, but we're going to do it in the order that everything went down. So with that, let's talk about week 8, matchup number 1 here. Tim versus Becker. So Tim takes this one, 140 to 132. Quarterbacks on both sides showed up. You know, Becker had Josh Allen with 23 points. Tim had Patrick Mahomes putting up almost 25. I said this last week, but I'm still shocked Mahomes is outperforming Allen in fantasy this season. That's just weird to me. Let's start with Tim's team since he got the win. So he rolled out 3 running backs this week. Jordan Mason, who did basically nothing. Aaron Jones came back last week, and he got more touches than Mason. Anyways, he also played Derrick Henry and Kamani Vidal, both of them putting up 19 each. Yeah, Mason might be. I think he's a bench moving forward. And then at wide receiver, Cortland Sutton got 10 points. That's not what you want. George Pickens had 14. That's okay. But the star here was Tucker Kraft, for sure. He had a massive 33 points at the tight end position. So that's good. Now, over to Becker's side, Bijan Robinson. That was a rough one. Just 5.8 points. That might be the lowest he scored all season. And he had a fumble. So that's it's kind of painful. They played Miami and they lost, which was so surprising to me. I played the Falcons defense for that reason, because they were playing Miami. That did not work out for me. But anywho, he also had Breece Hall, who went off for 32 points, so you love to see that. And then Rico Dowdle, who only gave him 5.4 in the flex. And looking at his bench, Chuba only got 9. So I don't know. That's just a bummer now that Chuba is back. I think that they should just give the starting job to Rico. He was doing so good. Like, just let him keep going. But I think this is going to be the situation for the rest of the season. It's like, who do you start, Chuba or Rico? You don't know. Becker also played J.K. Dobbins, who gave him 14. Not bad. Receivers, Rome Odunze had 18. Wan'Dale Robinson, 7.5. Yeah. Tight end did okay. Mason Taylor with 14 points. Becker had a pretty solid week, besides a couple players kind of letting him down, but it just wasn't enough in this matchup. Moving on to matchup number 2, Jordan versus Lance. Jordan takes this one, 141 to 127. So starting with Jordan's team, Bo Nix had a good week with 24 points. Johnny Taylor went off again with 37 points. That dude is crazy. He's a beast. RJ Harvey also had a really strong week with 24 points. Ramondre and Kenneth Gainwell, they did not do much, scoring only a few points each. On the receiver side of things, Jamar Chase had a nice week with 21 points. Zay Flowers had a solid 14. The only real hiccup here was Hawkinson, who managed just 4 points. I feel like he's just, I don't know, he's really not living up to like the expectations this year. Not doing so hot. So over to Lance's team. honestly, most of his team had a decent week. Jalen Hurts put up 25 points. Javonte Williams was solid again with 17. He had he had one player, Brashard Smith. He had a rough outing with zero point 0.8 points, so not even a single point. And I see now that Lance has dropped him since then. Josh Downs, Devontae Smith, Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, they all had decent games in like the 14-point range. Lance also played K. Dotton, who he got 8 points, but Lance played 3 tight ends this week, which we usually don't see. Maybe he was banking on it being National Tight End Day, so 2 out of the 3 worked. So it counts. And his Bills defense got him 19 points. So that, like, overall, like, pretty solid week. Just not enough against someone with Johnny Taylor on their roster, and he's getting, like, 37 points. So that just didn't work out. But let's move on to matchup number 3. So this is Ben versus Lovett. Ben wins 139 to 110. Ben started Jackson Dart at quarterback, who scored 19 points. Quinshon Judkins' injury. Oh, that really hurts. He managed just 4.7 points before going out. And then Justice Hill, only 0.2 points. That's rough. JJ and Jordan Addison, they did okay. I mean, they didn't have spectacular weeks. But Oronde Gadsden with 18.7 points. That's great. So great pickup from last week, Ben. Glad that's working out for you. I still wish I would have gotten him, but that is what it is. Rashi Rice also had a great week with 25 points. Tet put up 16.9, and his Buccaneers defense came in hot with 28 points. So Ben had a really good week other than his running backs. And Ben's bench was entirely on bye too. So like no extra points there. On the other side here for Lovett, Danny Jones scored 23 points. He's still looking great. And poor Cam Scattaboo. At least he got a touchdown before getting injured. I am really bummed that he had such a horrific injury. I think probably everybody is. But it was just, I don't know. It was fun to watch him while it lasted with Jackson Dart. I really liked that duo. And I for sure thought that he was going to go out at some point with a head or a neck injury instead, since he like basically headbutts everything he runs into. I thought that was for sure what his injury would be. I thought that would be inevitable, but apparently not. But yeah, I feel horrible for him. So that sucks. But moving on. Chase Brown, he contributed 25 points. Waddle had a good 20 as well. How many times did he go into the blue medical tent during this game? I didn't actually watch the game, but I would assume at least once, right? I feel like that's a Waddle thing, like every game. Anyways, T. Higgins, he was just meh with 11 points. And then Jake Ferguson had a goose egg. I was surprised by that. So that really hurts. And then Debo and Matthew Golden added just a few sad points each, which I think Lovett has since dropped Matthew Golden, which I do not blame you. So yeah, that was matchup number 3. Matchup number 4. Let's talk about Tyler versus Matt. So Tyler wins again, 111 to 107. Pretty low scoring game, and it was very, very close. Drake May keeps his breakout season rolling with 27 points and this is on Tyler's team. Christian McCaffrey, he had a down week, which was really surprising. He had 9 points. CMC hasn't scored below like 22 points all season long, so that's kind of wild to me. Josh Jacobs with 13.5. Rachaad White, who is no longer on his roster, just got a measly 8 points. And then Quentin Johnston, a big fat 0. Like, honestly, that Johnston, Allen, McConkey situation is, I don't know, it's such a headache. I feel like you never know what's going to happen. I have Allen in that whole situation, and I don't love it. I really don't. But yeah, it feels like you just don't know what's going to happen. And then Oronde Gadsden also comes into the mix, and it's just like, all right, I don't know what's going on. But anyways, More on Tyler's team. So DK had a good week with 16. Harold Fannin had a nice week as well with 18. Emeka Egbegbu, Egbeku, I can't even, whatever. Not so much of a great week there. I feel like Baker is just, I don't know, second week in a row, Baker has just been off for whatever reason. Not sure why. On Matt's side, Lamar Jackson was out again, so he played Caleb Williams, who only scored 12 points. James Cook, though, he came in hot with 33 points. He had a very good week. However, Tony Pollard, the not so great with 6 points. Olave, Diggs, they're all right, around the 10 to 14 range in points. And then Darnell Mooney with only 2 points. That hurts as well. And I see that Matt has already dropped him. Actually, I think he dropped him like immediately after the games when he could. However, Ladd McConkey, he had a good week this week with 20 points. And lastly, it was not National Tight End Day for Zach Ertz, as he only got 5 points. So you don't love that. But anywho, that is matchup 4. Moving on to matchup 5, which is the last week 8 matchup that we have here. So this is my matchup against Kim. I got destroyed. She won 139-92. On her side, Baker only got 4 points. Not great. Like I said just a minute ago, I'm really not sure what's going on with him 2 weeks in a row now. Saquon, however, he did have his revenge game against the Giants. I said this last week. I thought Saquon was going to have a really good game against me, and sure enough, he did. 33 points before going out with an injury. However, I don't think his injury is too bad, though, unless the Eagles are lying. Who knows? But they do have a bye week this week, so I think we're all thinking, or that's what they're saying, or at least Saquon is saying that he'll be back in week 10, so we'll see. The other people on her team, so Jaylen Warren, 9 points, DeAndre Swift, 15, Michael Pittman, solid with 23. She also played Tez Johnson, who I thought would be a good play, but he struggled with only 9 points. But again, I think that's a Baker problem. I don't think that was necessarily Tez. But yeah, Khalil Shakir, he had a boom week with 20. And Dallas Goedert also got her 17 points. So overall, pretty good all around on her side. On my side, however, Dak Prescott, 8 points. Ugh. Devon Achane, though, he's my shining star. He got me 20 points. I feel like I can always count on him. However, Kamara, Keenan Allen, Xavier Worthy, Tyler Warren, they were all like 10 points or below. CeeDee Lamb had a midweek with 14 points. And then Rashid Shaheed, also 14 points. I played the Falcons defense because, they're playing Miami. And I thought that would be a good play, as it usually is. But, of course, it wasn't. The week I decided to, take the defense that's playing them, they got me a goose egg. Yeah, I think Miami won 34 to something. So, really just kind of a pathetic week. My team was just, I don't know, looked like it was on an unofficial bye week last week. So whatever, it is what it is. But yeah, that's my matchup. So let's move on from that. That wraps up the week 8 recap. Let's dive into the waivers, and we also had a trade. So let's talk about it. We had a very busy week on waivers. There was a lot going on. So we did have a big pickup of the week. No surprise here. Tyrone Tracy with this Cam Scatterboo injury. Lance dropped $27 on him. So good job, Lance. You usually don't spend your fab. So there you go. You got Tyrone Tracy. There were 8 bids total on Tracy. Lovett came in right behind him with $25. Meanwhile, I tossed in a pity bid for $2. Not because I thought I'd actually get him, but, just in case everyone else forgot waivers existed this week. They didn't, but that's okay. I'm very low on fab. Actually, I have $0 in fab now, so that's cool. Anywho, next up, the Lions defense went to Matt for $9. There were 7 bids total on this. Tim was the runner-up with $6. And apparently Tim was on a defense spree this week because he also grabbed he grabbed the Rams defense for $6 and the Jaguars defense for $5. Meanwhile, I picked up the Texans defense for $3, and of course, no one else even bid, so I wasted my fab. I also grabbed Troy Franklin for $2. Becker had a $0 bid on him, and then Alec Pierce. I also picked up Alec Pierce for $2 with zero competition on that bid as well. Let's see. Tank Bigsby went to Tyler for $1. Kim had a $0 bid on him, which makes sense since she's got Saquon and she has no fab left. Let's see. Ben picked up the 49ers defense for $0. Becker got Cooper Kupp for $0. There were two other $0 bids on Cooper. Tyler tried, but Becker won the tiebreaker. Or no, sorry, I think there was only one other dollar bid on him. Lovett added I don't even know how to say this name. Chimere DK, I think, for $0. And then Ben picked up a second defense, the Ravens, for $0. So that was waivers that ran yesterday. But there were more waiver moves that happened this morning. So Kim added Trey Tucker for $0, who she beat out Matt's $0 bid. Matt picked up Jeremy McNichols for $0. Becker got the Bears defense for $0. And then Ben, again, he grabbed Ollie Gordon for $0, immediately dropping the 49ers defense that he just picked up yesterday. So, yeah. That is all for waivers this week. It was a very busy one. Lots of $0 bids, some defensive hoarding, and then, yeah. And before we wrap up this section, we did get a trade this morning. Lance and Lovett pulled off a deal. So Lance gets Deebo Samuel, and Lovett gets Tyrone Tracy. So not the most exciting blockbuster trade here, but I think it does make sense, especially with Lovett losing Scottaboo this week, and Lance did need a wide receiver. So not super exciting, but it makes sense. So yeah, so that is waivers and trades, and let's move into week 9 projections. So for this segment, I've got both my picks and Tyler's picks for who we think is taking each matchup this week. So let's get into it. First matchup, Tyler versus Lance. So starting on Tyler's side, Ibuka is on a bye, which means he's forced to go with Quentin Johnston. And I've got a note here from Tyler himself that literally says Q just sucks in all caps. So morale's kind of low there. But outside of that, his running backs, CMC, Josh Jacobs, and his receivers, JSN, DK Metcalf, they all have good matchups this week. On Lance's side, a little tricky here. He's got Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith both on bye. He hasn't picked up another quarterback yet, so I'm not totally sure what the plan is. He is also dealing with a few questionable people like Ricky Pearsall, Kyle Pitts, and DJ Moore. The matchups themselves aren't bad, but I don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty there. Overall, I think Tyler's team is stronger and more stable going into the week. So my pick is for Tyler to win, and Tyler agrees. He also picked himself to win this matchup. Next up, Ben versus Becker. Starting with Ben's team. So Judkins is hurt, so he has Justice Hill slotted in, which is kind of gross. Genty plays Jacksonville. They've got a tough run defense. However, Rashee Rice has a high projection, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god himself. He is always reliable. I love him. So I feel like, and that's part of the reason why I love him, is just because he is so reliable. I feel like you can always count on him. So that's good. Ben also has the Ravens defense going up against Miami, and with Lamar Jackson healthy, like I'm expecting a high scoring game. So I think that's going to be really good for him. On Becker's side, he has Josh Allen, Bijan Robinson, and Trey McBride. Bijan gets New England. Hopefully Penix is back out there and Bijan can bounce back from last week. I think he will. Also, Trey McBride versus Dallas. That's a great matchup. We all know that. So that's good in Becker's favor. Tyler thinks this one's going to be close, but he's taking Ben. I also think it'll be close, but I'm taking Becker for the win. Next matchup. Let's look at Kim versus Lovett. So, Kim's dealing with a little bit of a rough week just because of bye week situation. So Saquon, Baker, Dallas Goedert are all on bye. She's plugging in Matthew Stafford at quarterback. And her wide receiver matchups really aren't that great. She also has Devontae Adams, and Puka should be back this week. So we'll see how that affects the production there. On Lovett's side, things are looking a little bit better on his side, I think. He's got Indy Jones against Pittsburgh, which is great. Let's see. Kyron against New Orleans. All right. Jalen Waddle against Baltimore. I think that'll be okay. Jake Ferguson versus Arizona. I also think that'll be an okay matchup. And Chase Brown versus Chicago. I also think that will be good. So I personally think that he has strong matchups all around. Tyler thinks Lovett upsets Kim this week. And I think I'm going to side with him on that one. I think Lovett takes it this week. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so moving on to more week 9 projections here. Tim versus Matt. Okay, so Tim has Mahomes, so, no worries there. He's got his quarterback locked. His running backs have solid matchups this week. Derrick Henry at Miami, Vidal at Tennessee. Wide receivers, though, a little rough. Sutton has Houston, which is not ideal. Nico Collins is expected to play against Denver, which that matchup isn't great either, but with Surtain out, I think that should help a lot. I think it'll still be tough, but that'll help. On Matt's side, Lamar Jackson is back. I'm sure he's stoked about that. I know I would be. And he's facing Miami, so that's a big plus. I think Lamar is going to have a great week, and they basically have to win out the rest of the season. So I think this is going to look really good for Lamar and also Derrick Henry. But yeah, his running back matchups are decent. However, wide receiver situation looks a little questionable to me. I think New Orleans is going with a new quarterback this week. I don't think it's going to be Spencer Rattler. It's going to be Tyler Show, I think is how you say it. So I don't know what that means for Chris Olave. So that'll be interesting to see. And then Drake London and Ladd McConkey, they're both questionable as well. So Tyler thinks Matt will take the win. I'm leaning kind of the other way. I think that Tim wins. I think Mahomes, Henry, and Vidal should all have strong weeks, and I think they're going to carry his team to a win. All right. Final matchup for week 9, me versus Jordan. So, starting with me, Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb against Arizona should be solid. Achane, he's a lock. He's been great all season. Puka, he should be back, which I'm very excited for. I cannot wait to be able to play Puka and CD together. I haven't been able to do that at all this season. Tyler Warren gets Pittsburgh, which should be great. And then Marvin Harrison faces Dallas. If he cannot produce there, I'm going to question everything. So I hope that works out. On Jordan's side, Bo Nix faces Houston. Bo has improved this season, but this is still a tough matchup, so I'm just not sure what he's going to do. RJ Harvey, again, playing Houston, and they have a strong run defense, so I think that could limit him. However, he has Jonathan Taylor, and he's a monster. He's a threat no matter what. Jamar Chase, he should be fine as well if Flacco plays. Flacco is questionable at the moment. So if they're getting Browning back out there, I don't think Chase is going to have a good week. So basically, most of Jordan's starters have tough matchups, though having Jonathan Taylor keeps him dangerous, I think. All things considered, Tyler and I are both picking me to take the win this week. All right. Well, that wraps up everything for week 9 and week 8. We had a lot of waivers, trades, lots of players put on the trade block as well. So if you're wanting to make a trade, go see who's available. I personally just added a lot of people to the trade block. I put Dak and CD up there. I would like to bundle them together in a trade, and I'm looking for a running back in return and a quarterback. But yeah, go check that out if you're looking to make trades. And I know a lot of people last night also put people on the trade block, so go check that out. Otherwise, I wish you all the best of luck this week, and I will catch you next week. Bye.